All right. Good morning, Sean. How you doing?
Oh, hey, what's up?
So
Doing
it's
good.
good. It's good to
Doing good.
talk to you.
I don't know. I've only seen you in green bubbles lately on
It's
my
great.
phone.
So let's do the actual introduction on this. This is going to be show number 32. We'll call it off the cuff because we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Yet nothing really to talk about.
Well,
We've been trying
nothing
nothing
planned,
pertinent.
nothing
Yeah,
formal. Yeah.
exactly.
Well, yeah, pertinent, but there's a lot going on in the world. Obviously, we don't have to fool you. We're not fooling anybody about that. But yeah, the thing is, John, we've talked about all the time is that is with the world lockdown. I mean, slowly here, especially in New York, we're opening back up. We're about to kick into phase 3, finger quotes, whatever that is. But we went out to dinner the other day when the restaurant patios opened, and I felt like Andy Dufresne. We drank beer under the sun and felt like free men. And but
Yeah, because it's
you know,
what
it's,
we're talking June 10th right now
March
of, of
14th was when this all started.
of 2020. We joked about this on the 24th of January.
It's great.
And I sort of got sick towards the end of March and ran a month and a half and finally
I
back
tell
to
you,
work.
if there's one joke I regret making, it's I've had the coronavirus multiple times before in January because man, did it get the last laugh?
Oh, I,
I'll show you.
yeah,
But
it's things
the
are.
thing is,
Go ahead,
go
Sean.
ahead. Okay, the thing is that like we keep twice a week we're like, when can we go? When can we do it? But here the wife's working from home, kids are using it, using bandwidth for schoolwork. The little office is occupied all the time, so there's really like nowhere you can go to have, I guess, the privacy you need to do it. So it's been a struggle, and that's why we started early today.
Yeah, 9:30. Sit around, we talk for a little bit, and go from there. But we've been talking for a while and chatting back and forth, and definitely on the phone.
Oh,
The world
definitely.
the world has definitely changed since March, and then we're dealing with some civil unrest and protests. Unfortunately, there's some rioting and going on, but we're going to stay away from that today. We're going to talk about what's going on. Sean, you had a pretty bad fire back in April, and you guys were
Yeah,
up, signed, looking, doing a VES. Let's talk about
yeah.
what's the safe ways of doing VES. What are you looking for as the officer? And I'm going to flip the script on this. I'm going to interview you. As the officer, as you're approaching that building, what are you looking for when you're assigned VES?
Jeez. Well, first thing, so we had with this incident specifically, we had a pretty good report of what room the victim was supposed to be in. So that made it easy. Right here, okay, get that. We got to get to those windows. One of the first due engine crew, their driver or their nozzleman, I forget who it was. Before we had a little bit of a ride to get to this fire, even though we were first in, but he was starting to throw a ground ladder to the front porch roof anyways to give us access to that window. But when you approach, you're looking at your best approach. You're looking at smoke conditions. You're looking at the fire conditions. I'm not a big just believer, and I know this is going to make people mad, but survivability profiling, like it's our job to do our best to try to get those people out. Like who am I, looking at the conditions of a building, I can't tell if that person's in a closet behind. We all know that a closed door makes a world of difference inside of burning buildings. So you're sizing up your best approach for entry, looking for windows that you think might be, the bedroom windows, or where people might be habit or what do you call it, occupying. This particular fire was at like 6:45 in the morning, so the bedrooms were a pretty good start, right? But then the other thing that comes into play in the corona world is everybody's home. There's more people maybe living in houses with each other, because who knows if people couldn't pay their rent, if so the living room is not exactly off the table in terms of BES in a living room window or family room window. Most of the houses in our city are doubles, so you have living rooms and kitchens on both floors. So you're looking for those spaces that they may occupy, and you want to, besides that, you're looking at your smoke conditions. You're looking at where should we start, we want to get as closest to the area of harm as possible and work our way back. But again, just that particular fire, the mom was on the ground standing there telling us he's in that room, he's in that room, he's in that room. So the decision was made. And now the only decision was because of the conditions, because of smoke conditions, and we not knowing how big a head start this fire had, do we go? This was a pretty good fire.
Sean, I want to stop you for a second.
Sure.
You said it before, and I think you glanced over it, and I think we overlooked something. You said they threw the ladder to the porch roof. That porch roof is a perfect work platform for our members. It's a lot easier to operate off of porch roof or a first floor build out compared to operating off a ladder where you maybe got one or two guys that are stacked on the ladder. You're at least able to put a couple guys up on that area, and we can, depending on how big the building is or how big that roof is, you're able to pop in different windows if needed for VES.
Yeah, and that was that actually played into my decision. So, there was two things that happened quick. The engine, all the doors were locked. The people that were outside had jumped. The engine crew couldn't get in, so we needed to, and I don't know, we got there seconds after they did, so not a whole lot had happened. They were just basically, size up report was given. Yeah, size up report was given, and they were starting their stretch. But the officer told me that all the doors were locked. So I'm like, well, while we start getting this, I have my second two guys, my driver and the guy behind him start getting ready to do VES. We went and quick forced the side door, figuring if we can get a line in there, obviously we know water is going to win, and we get some water out of fire and improve the conditions in there. But
that's just another top thing to jump on, Sean. I don't mean to interrupt you. Having four members of a crew is great huge, because you're able to do two different tasks. You understand your guys on your crew understand their task. Yours. So by splitting your crews, you're handling two different tasks at once, and then going to come back and drop back to the most important one, which is life safety.
Absolutely, and that's we talk about it even in the truck class and whatnot is. We talk about 3-person ladder raises and whatnot. Well, I could do it. Most departments in the country and the world can't do it, but we don't know how good we have it having the manpower that we have here. That's for sure. And getting back to that, we went quick force the door, get up to the top. Now, like you said, like you'd mentioned, because of the situation, we were on a porch roof. We were all up there, the 4 of us. I'm surveying a room with the window was open a little bit. So one of my firefighters, he took out the window closest to where we assumed would have been the bed, just based on, it was 100% a guess, but just knowing the buildings, you would assume that this individual his head wasn't sleeping in front of the windows. His head was the other way. So he opened that window first and kind of was feeling around. I got in there with the tick and I'm scanning as best I can to see what I could see. And the conditions were bad, and smoke conditions were real bad. And there are videos out there.
Sean, it was chunky. It was time to, what you did, and you'll explain it coming up, is just amazing. Just the amount of heat and smoke and turbulent smoke. We're not just talking coming out and just dissipating. This thing was chugging. And you guys made the decision.
It was definitely nasty, and so we talk about this all the time. Communications are tough. I made the report that we're gonna try to do this VES. So I get up there scanning around, but your porch roof scenario. It was perfect because we had a double window. They were molded together, 2 windows molded together, which made it a little easier in terms of if there's a victim, we're going to be able to get them out faster. This is my thought process. If we find them, having 2 windows here and 4 bodies, the guy on the inside and the 3 of us outside, the rescue should go easier. Knock on wood, right? Should go easier, should go faster. Versus, like you said, if one person inside is handing the victim out the window to a person who's on a ladder. So we already had a stable work platform. All we had to do was get them out the window onto the porch roof, out of harm's way, and then we could sort of take our time and if we get a Stokes ladder, we get another ladder to get them down. But so we scan the room, scan the window. I'm looking at them. I mean, it was floor to ceiling heat, windy morning. Again, because of where we were, I don't really know what's going on with the engine. So now I hear the engine found a victim in the back. Reports came in of a victim in the rear. It was called in by an engine company, but I didn't know if they were making the grab or if they just reported it and said, "Hey, John, there's a victim here. You and your crew get it out." So we don't have that information. But what I'm looking at, all signs of my brain, my rational brain's like, man, this is a no-go. This is a no-go. I can't do this. But the mom's on the sidewalk, screaming, crying. Everybody and their brothers watching us on the news. I mean, on the street, Facebook Live.
And everybody's got phones, exactly, because you got a million videos.
Yeah, and then in the end, I'm responsible to my crews, but so I'm looking at it, and one of my firefighters who's very good at what he does, he's like, "Cap, just let me go quick." So the bed was there. So once we got the windows taken out, I hoped that maybe it would lift, give us a little bit of a minute to see, and then we could he quick do a VES, or best case scenario, we can see him right at the base of the window because we know we find victims at the points of egress all the time. If he's right there, maybe we could reach in without putting people in because anytime you VES, it's calculated risk that you're going to draw the fire to. And so one of the guys grabbing the bed sheets, hoping that maybe we'll feel a foot, we'll feel an arm, we'll feel something that we'll know he's there. Nothing. So then one of my firemen said to me, he's like, "Cap, let me just go quick. I'll just do a quick search right now." And I'm looking at it. I'm like, hold on. And now I'm trying to call for a line. I'm trying to even just to get somebody to cool it from the street, even, which we don't like doing, but it's at this point. And then finally I looked at him. I'm like, all right, we're going to go quick. Now, again, this is all happening over the course of 30 seconds. It's not like it's a 5-minute, the story's taking a lot longer than the whole scenario did, but I'm like, all right, we're going to go. So what happened? One guy posted up at one side of the window. I posted up at the other side of the window. I had my arm in with the tick, and I'm scanning, and I'm hoping that I can see him. So I told him, I'm like, go in, get the door if you can get it. Don't go looking down the hallway. Don't go anything like that. You don't have a lot of time. So he goes through the room, does a quick search, comes back, no luck. Still can't see anything. Because he said, the kid, what my fireman said, maybe he rolled under the bed, maybe he's hidden under the bed, who knows? And I said, did you get the door? He said, no, the door's gone. So either the door is burned off, there was no door. We don't know.
And that tends to happen sometimes. That they just hang curtains and stuff because
right.
Depending on the heating situation. This was still April-ish.
April, yeah, it was April.
We still had snow in May. You had snow May 9th up in Buffalo.
Shut up. Yeah.
So how crazy, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But this is the new world that we live in, and so sometimes they hang curtains that could have burned away, or like you said, in order to transfer heat to the second floor, who knows how they're heating the building? That door's removed. So there's no that isolate that we talk about all the time in the VES. I'm not throwing the VEIS. I'm not that newer school.
Yeah, but there's all kinds of OVIE. There's a million.
Yeah, but
we needed one more acronym in the fire service.
EIEIO, and but the whole thing is, you don't know if it's going to be there. You made your best assumption using your thermal imaging camera, using the experience and knowledge that you had and your crew. And we've talked about this a little bit before about sizing up. We size up our crews. Who do you have? Your experience level. And truthfully, we size up other crews, right? Other companies. The engine company. Who's on the nozzle today? Is it the new kid that just got out of the academy? He's got a year on the job, or is it the 25-year vet that, man, he knows what the heck he's doing, and he'll go to hell and back, and he's done it before, and he's got the salty brims to show.
And you're absolutely right about that. And that was other thing that played into my, first two engines, very squared away, very good engine crew. I knew that they were going to make the push they needed to make. So that all plays into it. And, long story short, we didn't find the victim, unfortunately. He had perished, and when they found him, once we had the fire knocked, So we didn't talk about what the tension was, or the pressure here was that there was a house on the 2 side was involved. So we had exposure issues. So the Chiefs were talking about transitioning into a defensive fight pretty much immediately. We did the VES, came out of the room, made a radio report that we didn't find him. And at the first floor, it flashed and lit up above us. So the Chiefs were transitioning, and then right then he pulled everybody out, hit it with some big lines, and then we eventually went back in. But everything was working against us that morning, truthfully. And I'm not making excuses, because it beat you up and it was hard. And everybody's telling me, oh, well, he was probably gone anyways. Well, bullshit. I don't care. That's not acceptable to me. If we get him out quick, who knows what difference we can make. We've heard some crazy stories, people in burning buildings for 30-40 minutes before they're rescued, and they come away just fine. So tough situation.
But
And again, the fact that it was live streamed on the internet wasn't awesome. But then the funny thing is if you see the full videos, the girl, the commentator was initially very critical of some of the actions of the fire department, not necessarily my crew, but then once the fire flashed beneath us and we were kind of stuck, we needed a line to put the fire out so we could get down. She's like, those guys are going to fall in. And then she turned and she was on our side for a minute.
So that's the next thing I want to sort of talk about, and I'll lead you down that path, is after the fact. After the fact, we always money quarterback our own actions. What could we have done better? I won't say it's an AAR because it's not a formal thing, but definitely with issues that we've had in other incidents that I've run, whether it's a rescue aspect of a motor vehicle or it's a structure fire or something like that, thinking back, what could I have done different? What could have changed the outcome? What one thing could have stopped that domino potentially? Mentally, I think we're one of the hardest professions on ourselves. Outside, you're right. You got the Monday morning quarterbacks that are watching these videos and stuff, and not even talking about our members, but our own people. Thinking about, hey, I could have done something different. We always take a little bit of that incident with us, and we wear it on our shoulders or in the back of our head, or just always knowing that, hey, maybe what could we have done different? And sometimes there's nothing we could have done different. The chips and the cards are stacked against us, and we're trying to make the best out of a bad situation. But Sean, how many guys reached out to you after that fire? This is where I'm going with the brotherhood aspect of this.
Yeah. So
how many people reached out?
A ton actually. And so there's two. I have a pretty good circle of. I have you guys, all the guys on the kitchen table, like that. We have our local friends, and then we have two, all the guys that you run around with, and for everyone that was like, yeah, you made the right call. There was a couple like, dude, probably shouldn't have gone. And and again, it was a decision I made. But you're right, it was the support's there if you ask for it, and because of COVID and because of all the stuff going on, it was tough to do a formal like AAR or post-incident analysis. So I wrote one up myself and sent it to the chief and hoped that everybody could do one. So you kind of answer the 4 questions. What did we do? What went well? What could have gone better? And like, who do you need to tell about it, right? And so I wrote that up, and I hoped that again, if all the crews, at least the first assignment crews, wrote one of those up, we could just share the info. And it's not about throwing other people under the bus. It's about learning. There was a lot of radio chatter that I thought was unnecessary. Did it affect the outcome? Probably not. But, it's all stuff that we can learn from. Did I need to make this transmission? In hindsight, probably not. And that's just all part of it. But yeah, the support's always there. It was hard. Like I said, it was, the other victim was removed. Unfortunately, she passed as well. And, come to find out. So there's the other scenario with it is that this was a kid. All he kept, mom's like, my son's in there, my son's there, my son's there. I didn't know if it was a baby. Didn't know if it was a teenager, 10-year-old, 9-year-old, or 40-year-old. I was my mom's baby when she died at 86 years old, right? I was her youngest. And even though I was, in my 40s, So that's different. So then I start thinking, well, maybe, just maybe this kid's an adult, which it turned out he was. Maybe he's not home. Maybe he went out. Maybe he met a, friend or whatever. Maybe he's not home. And so, unfortunately, like I said, later in the fire, we found him. And more so, it just aggravates you because that's not how we want to roll. If we get someone out and they die, it sucks. And it still weighs heavy on you. But I don't believe it weighs as heavy on you as somebody finding somebody an hour and a half into an incident. That pisses me off, quite frankly. It's happened to me more times than I care to admit, but I don't think my crew or initially the crews, the way the scenario played out, I don't know what we could have done different, and that's just the way it is,
No,
But you learn from it and you be better, and I use the videos for both critique and for learning. That like I said, I have them. I haven't been sharing them. they're somebody's died. 2 people died in that building. It's not something that should be shared all over social media, I don't believe, but they're out there, and a few close friends saw them, and I got their opinion, and I got a chance to speak to the chief about it afterwards. We never really had a true formal PIA where but I talked to the first 2 engine. I talked to, and me and him, it's more so that we're on the same page the next time. And that was big. I wanted to make sure that he knew that, if he thought I was throwing him under the bus because of what I wrote up, I wasn't. I was just hoping that we all learn, because I threw myself under the bus. I went to force that door, the 30 seconds it takes me to force the door. If I go to the roof right away and I can get up there with the tick quicker, do I maybe see something? Again, it's all about learning. It's all about doing better next time. So, but yeah, so now we brought everybody down.
No, it's an important,
it's real. You're real.
It's an important lesson, Sean, because we do have these incidents and calls that we go on, and that we do our best there.
Absolutely.
And then we're not going to, unfortunately, sometimes we can change the outcome and sometimes you can't. But when you can't, again, like exactly what you said, we need to learn from those issues. And again, by talking with your crews, not just your company, but the other crew, the first due crew, the engine companies or whatever else, having a game plan for the future of, hey, maybe I needed this from you. I need you to listen up better. Or, hey, if you see this, I need a protection line. Because you're right, Sean, that fire came right out from underneath you guys. What do they say? Never throw a ladder over a fire. Well, guess what? The fire came to you guys.
You had no choice. Yeah.
You had no choice. You had to operate. That's your job. But getting somebody to get a protection line in place is important. And again, I'm not down putting down the engine company or anything else, but it's just things that we need to learn from. And then again, the mental aspect of after the fact. That fire just because you clear the scene doesn't mean that fire is clear from you. And whether some fires and some incidents are going to return back to you in the middle of the night, something will trigger a smell, a smell, a sight, not a sound really for me, but definitely a smell. And I think you can attest to that as well. You get that certain,
for sure.
Hey, that fire had this distinct odor, which is different. And now you get that and you're like, holy shit, I'm right back there. We always carry these fires with us or incidents with us. So it's okay. And it's important to talk about it with your friends. You do your debriefing. And I'm not talking a formal debriefing, but just talk about it. I know we have gallows humor with certain things in the fire service, and that's how we deal and cope. And again, I didn't realize that we were going to go down the mental health aspect of this, but it's always good that, like you said, you had tons of guys that reached out to you. Sean, going in those windows with that smoke chugging, that's separates the men from the boys sometimes, right? You had a line. What's that line that you told me?
Well, that's the thing. So for everybody that said, "Oh, you're crazy," there was 2 people that said, "Wow, that's man shit." You know what I mean? Like, that's man shit right there. And not, not to disperse our ladies, you know what we mean. But so it really wrestled with me, and so just to, interestingly enough, the week after or 2 weeks after, whatever it was, there was a seminar locally that Oh no, I'm sorry. It was an online seminar. Of course, it wasn't local. It was during the middle of
I'm trying
Rona.
to like, Sean, where are you going?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
local because it's in your house, because it's
yeah,
on the screen.
yeah. So it was the online seminar, and so I'm sitting there and I have conversations, and I had a lot of conversations I really wanted to talk to you ad nauseum about. I talked to Ryan. I talked to the guys at the kitchen table. I talked to my other little group, Marc, Aloan, and Jarrod, and the boys, and you know, still sitting there going, again, what do I do next time? What do I do next time? What do I do next time? Was I prepared to have that conversation with, God forbid, one of my guys got hurt if that fire flashed? I was confident that the fireman I sent in was the right one for the job. He's quick, he's aggressive, he's good. And again, I had one fireman on one side of the window, myself on the other side of the window. So we were there. He had two
You cover
ways.
that room.
Yeah, I had him pretty much covered that, he was never out of earshot, just like a standard VES. But anyways, you go with those, like, what do I do? What if he gets burned? What if it flashes? We could all get hurt. And it's always there in the back of your mind. But so anyways, I guess my point was that I talking to the chief, talking to you guys, and like, oh man, if you have any doubts, you really shouldn't go. And then I'm listening to, I think it was the Fire Nuggets that they did that online conference a few weeks after that, or the weekend after maybe. And the first one was Mike Lombardo. And I mean, Mike's obviously from Buffalo, and he, very well respected. I learned a lot from him throughout the course of my career, but I continued to still do. I saw him live and locally in March, and I saw him online. And so anyways, he says he almost covered the exact same scenario, talking about VES, and it was a scenario like that, heavy fire pushing. This one actually was fire versus smoke. And he made the point, and he said, just like I said earlier, he said, absolutely, you fucking go. That's why we're here, and so, I mean, again, I kind of, me and the crew talked about it, and I gave them their props. I mean, that for him to, some officers around here would be pushing guys in that window to go. I almost had to hold them back, and nobody wants kamikazes, because they only get you one mission. But to have a guy step up to me, like, everything in my brain's like, nope. Let's see if we can get him without going in. Let's see if we can get him from the window. He's like, Cap, let me go. Maybe he's under the bed. Let me go. Like, it makes you realize how lucky you are, to have good people that have the greater good, have the citizens' best interests in mind. So,
No, Sean, you're absolutely right with that. And again, it's a personnel and a personal decision to figure out who's there and their accomplishments over their career and their experience. But
and that's the beauty of my crew jobs, where I'm spoiled is, I don't, you go, I'm not going to do the old Stephen McCaffrey and be like, great, 2 probies. I'm looking at, who do I send? Because I got 3 guys that would have all went.
That's
without
great.
me saying boo. And the other, my 4th would have probably went too, but he's a rookie. He's on probation. He was a career firefighter somewhere else and just transferred here. So, he's got a little bit of experience, but he's still got that orange P on his helmet. I'm not ready to send him to VES yet.
But that comes back to, and I'm going to throw, we'll quote one of our good friends, Sean Duffy, build your culture, and Marc, you're building a culture within your company, and what they'll do by training, and whether it's physically training or sitting down around doing building construction and fire behavior, and knowing what your decision making is. You're building your culture within your company, and that is huge. And I think more officers need to invest the time and energy into their company to know what they're going to do without even saying it. So,
Absolutely.
And I think that brings us to a great segue with talking about all these online learning opportunities that are coming up between podcasts and webinars. We did our Firehouse Kitchen Table conference right after one of the first ones in the country, right at just after I got sick. And
we were early April. We were, we didn't waste any time.
No, we jumped on that, and it was great. We raised $3,400 for two great charities. We split the money for that, and there's some really good stuff that's out there while we are in this shutdown or a reboot or whatever you want to call it. And I don't see the webinar going away anytime soon. I think this is going to be the wave of the future for training because it is so cost effective.
Yeah, it's cost effective and it's great. I mean, obviously it'll never replace the networking that goes on
at a conference
in the morning for coffee. And we do it every year at FDIC. Somebody will put out there, hey, I'm going to be at the JW for coffee in the morning. Show up, and 100 people show up and get their Starbucks or whatever coffee most hotels down there seem to have Starbucks, but get their coffee and sit around. And it's a 10-minute little coffee meeting, but you're shaking hands and saying hello, and then, hey, maybe we'll catch lunch, maybe we'll catch dinner. That will never be replaced virtually. But man, there's a place for it. I really believe. Like, I'm looking right now, the Fire Rescue International, I believe it is, the Fire Rescue South Carolina. Their virtual conference starts tomorrow.
Yep, it's our good friend that David Hesselmeyer and myself taught last year down there in South Carolina Fire Rescue, which is a great little conference.
Yeah, and they're doing it for free. So tomorrow is a leadership roundtable with some great guys, man. Oh man, Jonah Smith, Marc Van Oppen, my buddy Jarrod Sergi, and this is free. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It only goes till noon on Saturday, so you can get out of there and enjoy your day now that we're starting to open up a little bit. But I really hope that it stays because it's perfect firehouse drill with the crews. Again, it's not going to ever replace face-to-face, but it's the next best thing. We just did we kind of segued into it. My good group of buddies, Marc, Aloan, and Jarrod, Sergi, Ben Martin, Tommy Gore, and Josh Kramer, we were talking, just quick, and Marc's jonesing. Like, Marc lost out just like everybody, all these gigs. I think I'm the only one that didn't have a lot of gigs canceled because I'm not out there as much, but the guys are jonesing to give their programs to keep their skills sharp. So we threw together that Unlock Your Culture conference last week, and it was a 4-day program. And I mean, man, looking at the lineup, I'm like, I don't belong on this thing. And there were some great people. And we did a 4-day program just like that. It was $10 a day, 4 speakers a day, and it all went to charity. And the same thing, we raised just over $3,000, I think, for charity, and really good. I mean, there are some technical issues and some things that you need to work through, but there's ways around that. Like we did when we had ours, we had whomever was the host had a copy of the PowerPoint so that you could, the speaker could just concentrate on speaking, and that way didn't gobble up as much bandwidth because we had but it's an amazing thing. And the guys, and I'm not begrudging guys that are making money doing it either. The charity ones are great, but listen, those people put a lot of work into their programs. You know it as well as anyone, John, is that you put a lot of work, a lot of time and effort and energy, and you should be compensated for it. But most guys, it's $20, $10-$20, and most of that cost goes to cover Zoom, truthfully. And so I hope it stays. I really enjoyed it. And what I found, the places that offered the recordings of them after the fact, you pop one on at the station with the guys, and most of the time I'll just throw it on in my office while I'm doing my paperwork or whatever. And even if I'm not watching, I'm listening.
You're hearing it. Yep.
It's amazing. Well, certainly one positive that's come out of this whole COVID thing. And I can't see it going away. I just can't.
No, I think this is the new for the fire service in virtual learning. It's not going to replace the hands-on stuff that has to. No. You got to do the reps. Last week at work, we were doing ladders and little social distancing. We had a couple of our guys there. They still want us doing single company drills. They don't want guys together. Jersey, where I'm at in Jersey, it's still a little bit of a hotbed, but we're starting to relax. Yesterday, our governor, opened up some more, added some numbers to the ability of being in a group. So, but we're still wearing masks and stuff like that, but we're throwing ladders, and we actually show them. We actually did the VES. We were doing a ladder drill. So we were talking about setting ladders to the roof and then gaining entry into windows. So rescue mode. I don't think anybody's ever setting a ladder up for ventilation to the side. I think everybody's going up, setting it for rescue mode, and then taking the windows. What's your thoughts on that? We'll go back to basics right there.
It's funny you say that because I was working so with the Unlock Your Culture thing. I was going to do my truck program, and I was made some modifications to it to include more of the culture, truck company culture, blah blah blah. And I didn't end up doing it because the night before was a bad night in the city. There's a lot going on, and truthfully, my head wasn't in it that morning. I went to the firehouse, brought some donuts and bagels for the guys, and I just felt like I needed to be at work with the crews. So my plan is to record it, and I'll offer it out to people to watch. But anyway, getting back to your question, when I was searching for culture stuff, I found, I think it was Dixie Firemanship. They posted on Facebook, and they posted side-by-side pictures. One of the ladder under the window for egress. One, the ladder to the left of the window for ventilation. So, and the caption read, which is correct. And the first comment was like, it said, depends on your ladder culture. So it depends, because we know, you and I know, and most people listening should know that both are correct. Both serve their purpose. There's no harm in, listen, if you put your ladder up to the base of the window to vent, obviously you got to be more concerned about how high you go, so you're not taking that smoke. But whatever, regardless of what the books teach, both have their purpose. But I thought it was funny that it said,
based on your culture.
Yeah, and
it's what you teach, and that's the funny part, Sean. So I got a couple of younger guys that are learning the truck. They're engine company guys right now that are learning truck work. So, and not until like just discussing this now, I realized that I'm creating their culture of how to do, because we have limited staffing. You're not going to be able to, a lot of times don't have the time to throw a ladder to the side, take the window, come back down, either flip it over or slide it over, and then go back up to make entry. Right,
exactly.
So I'm teaching underneath, this is how you take the glass, try and pull it out away from you if you can. First one's obviously going to be in, because we got to worry about victims and stuff like that. And then everything else comes back out. Talked about taking out that center sash,
right,
with the use of the Halligan. Showed how to take the 6-foot hook or 8-foot hook, and as you're putting that ladder up, it's already attached in there. Take your Halligan, throw it up as you go up the side. It's important to teach these younger guys that don't have those skills or had those skills in the fire academy, and now they're out on the street. And again, it's some of those things. Hey, street is different than the academy. So you teach them the little tricks and tips. Some departments have gone so far as widening up the holes in the side of the truss on the ladder just to make that the pike end of the New York hook fit in, right? So as you're carrying it, it's staying there.
Yeah.
Or they grind down the New York hook just a little bit just to make it in. I see the face that you're making.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I hear you. It's
smarter people than me have manufactured those ladders for.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But grinding it down just a little bit made it work, and how to carry your tool package with you, whether you're going for now. And we talk about that. Talk about tool packages. If you're going to the rear, what are you carrying? And this isn't even ladder culture. This is talking about forcible entry. You're always taking the metal cutting saw. You're taking your heavy irons, especially for a commercial building. That's what I'm talking about now. Obviously, you might not be bringing your wood saw to, your metal saw to a residential, but you may. Depends upon what district you're in. We have metal bars and gates on some of our porches and entranceways in the rear of these buildings.
And you never know anymore. People have it at their houses because they're scared.
Sure, you posted that picture. You posted that picture of that drop bar in the center of the door.
Yeah.
Who knows how you're going to force that door on that inward swinging door? That was an outward swinging door. It's easy.
It's interesting enough that the day before that fire we were talking about, or the tour before that fire we were talking about, we had a grab of a house. We made the rescue that time. Well, the couple firemen from Rescue One found the guy, brought him down, and myself and them we were able to get him out. But that was that house. I'm sorry, not that house, but that was when we come down a side door. We're trying to force the side door, and I'm using everything in my brain, my whole toolbox, just knock out literally toolbox, and I couldn't get this door open for nothing. And heavy secured outer storm door, and taking the handle didn't work, taking nothing. And I mean, the building was on fire and there was a report of victims, so I wasn't going to spend a whole hell of a lot of time. So we end up finding out that there's a rear door. They were having difficulty getting into that because it was boarded up. So we end up getting through that way, come in, find right away. I send my other guy, I'm like, go down there and figure out how to get that damn door open from the inside. And even from the inside, we couldn't get open. I mean, it turns out that it was just
screw it shut.
He had a kick plate at the bottom that you couldn't see because of the debris that were laying there. He had a slide lock down low, and he had modified the storm door. Basically, what it boiled down to is he never used that door. So we're down there. I go down there to check and see how the kid's doing. And the rescue comes down with the victim. I'm like, guys, we can't get out this way. We got to go the other way. We got to go out. So I grab the guy's legs. A fireman from the rescue's got him, and we start going through the kitchen. But yeah, that's what the picture I posted the other day was a perfect example of using your routine calls to learn about your buildings. Now I know. And there's a house we go to all the time. The other day, we just went there. It's an elderly woman. She falls down a lot, and she doesn't, usually when she's down, it's for a day or so. And we know from going there that she has a kick plate in front of her front door. So we've actually tried to get her to give us the code to her garage.
To go through.
Because every time if I go, I take the locks, which is, we talked about that ad nauseum. So I'm causing, $7 damage to her. She gets a new deadbolt, she's good to go. But other crews don't do it. Either they don't do it or they don't know, they don't have the skills. So her kitchen door is like screwed together, So I try to convince the lady, I'm like, if you just give us your garage code, like you can trust us, we put it in the rip and run sheet so that the crews that show up know it, and then we're not breaking your door down once a month. But yeah, there's a lot out there. We have to. That's where we have to pay attention. That's why even when you go to your smells and bells, if you're the other, the second or third due company that you don't have, you may not get in. Like for example, on a routine call, the first engine arrives and we can handle. Well, take a peek if you got time. Go down there and just you go in the house and again, don't go upstairs looking at bedrooms, but at least see how they got the building secured. If you can get a good look at, see how it's laid out. So
it's some of the things that we're doing now. I've always done that with my crews. If it's even if we're finishing up, we're clearing from a gas call or CO response or something like that. Just looking at the building, especially for the truck company aspect. Where are you going to place your turntable? What's up on the roof? All right, hey, look, you got the 3-story ordinary. All right, the doghouse door comes out. It's right by the for you it would be the 4 side. For me, it was a D. All right, then the door's going to open that way. You got to make sure if you got a smoke condition or something else, you got to get down low because you don't know where the edging is. We talk about coping stones and all that other stuff, but it's always sizing up the buildings and looking at where things are. Every run's a teachable moment.
Absolutely.
And you just got to take the time to recognize that and have the time for it and invest in your company to get them to understand that. So eventually when you're not there and you retire, they're doing it for their guys.
That's it.
You got to create that continued culture.
Turnkey crews, your crew should be able to operate whether you're there or not. And it's the same thing. I lost my train of thought. You just said something that
turnkey.
It's the it doesn't even have to be that complicated. It'd be you're operating at the scene of same thing. Meat on the stove, food on the stove type of call. Maybe you're there in the truck and you're ventilating. you go to one of your firemen or your crew, say, hey, how many windows on the front of the house? Oh, geez, Cap, I don't know. Well, why not? That's all part of it. You in this building, you don't know how to get out besides the door. So there's a lot you can do, and simple, easy things, and it doesn't matter when. The best time to do it is at 3 a.m. when you're doing it.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times with newer guys on the truck, anybody can drive the truck eventually, but you got to talk about, when you start talking about placement of where you're setting up for the ground ladders, or if you have wires, how are you going to get that ladder up if you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And my big thing is covering two sides. I like to stop short of the building so I can cover that first side that I come to, as well as the front, or the A side.
Mm-hmm.
For me. The other day I called an audible because I know how the second two trucks coming in, I told them to pull past, because the second truck can come up, and it was a corner building, so they can come up behind us and handle the other two sides. So we got all four sides covered. And my guys are like, well, why the D? And I had a newer driver, because right now we've got guys that are almost ready to get past, driving to every run, maybe except for a structure fire. So alarms, smells and bells, whatever. And I'm like, cover the D, get the turntable in line with the D. And guys understand that. And there's audibles all the time that especially in the truck company, engine companies. Yeah. Whether you sit at a hydrant or you grab the hydrant or you're first in, there's not really many audibles for placement for engines. Trucks, there's constant changes, whether you're going to set up in the throat of the building, because you got a setback or whatever else. But it's situationally dependent. I think one of the best things that we finally got is we have a CAD system now, and I'm able to pull up a Google Earth view from dispatch. So boom, I hit it. Second I get in the cab, I can see the building, the top side, and I'm looking for wires and other stuff like that. And I think we've done like 8 quick tips that we said we would try and do in the in this, but it's just great. And it's funny how our circles are intertwining between your group with Jarrod and Marc, and I'm hanging out and meeting with, we had Sean Duffy on.
Oh, absolutely.
And you just keep learning new things. Sean's got a great class on, search culture.
Search culture, yeah. This is great.
And
I got to sit through that during the online conference. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to catch that one live, because, that's the one. Just to hop back to that for a quick second, that's the one negative of the virtual thing, is there's less back and forth. It's just the nature of the beast. Like, you can't engage people in the classroom. Like Champ does it really well. In a classroom, if you look like you're just kind of there to get the gold star checkbox, he'll come right, hey brother, what's your name? Where are you from? Come on
Cupcake.
Up. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best. He's honestly one of the best at that, because he starts calling me out in the one day a couple months ago, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, do you know who I am? And not like, do you know who I am? Like, tough guy.
Do you know who I am? I've been doing this a little bit.
But not like that.
And he knows who you are. That's the thing.
Well, that's what I said. I'm like, maybe he just didn't recognize me. Like, he's like, because
change your haircut.
Yeah, well, I did have the Rona cut going, but he's like, yeah, I know who you are. I'm like, well, you're talking about me to me. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, he's one of the best at engaging.
Phenomenal. He's such a dynamic speaker.
And it's in his, he did do I saw his one webinar he did. I can't recall what it was about. It was, obviously,
it was a truck company
operations or leadership, whatever. But he did a great job. But it's just, you could tell it's
not being live. Yeah, it's not like being in the room.
Interestingly enough, like watching the different people during that online thing. So I was able to observe some of it. And that was the beauty of being all day, is I'd pop in, pop out. He had us set up as panelists so that you could log right in, log right out. You didn't have to get let back in to the webinar. And some of the guys, even doing virtual classes, stood up. So they're running the thing, they're talking to their computer, but they stood up, and they're still using their clicky thing to make them out to PowerPoint Advance or whatever. And so it was interesting to see the difference. And then you have some guys just lean back like they were cooler than a fan. Me, I still talk. I talk with my hands when I'm talking to you, and it's just. But Sean's class was really good, and I really can't wait to catch it live. And hopefully, between like, we should probably start thinking about shutting it down here. But we got Expo coming up.
Yep, we're going to be doing our brand new class, right?
Yes.
Managing everyday incidents.
That is what, Sunday, November 1st, right? We do that.
Correct. Yeah. This is going to be a short. It's going to be short
deal.
Yeah, it's the 30th, 31st, and the 1st. So it's 3-day deal.
October 30th
30th to November 1st.
Yeah, to November 1st. Yeah, and in Nashville, and we're both. Well, actually, so what we're doing.
We're doing that, and I know you're doing your truck class, I believe, and we're going to do a panel discussion right afterwards, right after our class.
Is it that day, or is that? I didn't see that because they did put the schedule. I didn't see what time we were doing the panel.
I think we're doing the panel right after our class because that's the last day. We're closing it up pretty much.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. I have going to be in Jersey, and we're gonna have to get. I still don't know the north, south, east, west shit of Jersey, but with Eckert, Bobby Eckert doing the taking it to the streets to live burn weekend. It's the weekend of September 11th.
Up in Bergenfield.
Yep. So where's that? Is that like?
That's like 45 minutes from me. Don't worry, I'll be there. We'll be breaking your chops.
You might be picking me up from the airport.
It's all good.
I'm debating.
Crashing my place. All good.
Truthfully, I'm debating just driving, honestly, because I started looking into it, like, and this doesn't matter, but, the only direct flights from here are United. Not a fan. You pay for everything. No carry-on. And then if I take like Delta, who I prefer to fly on, it's going to take me 5 hours, so I might as well drive.
Yeah.
And then I have my vehicle there. Like,
you got your gear,
so
all that stuff.
I'm not reliant on Bobby or one of the guys to get me back and forth. Or like I said, it's Friday afternoon when I get there. If we want to go have lunch, I don't gotta John, come pick me up. We just meet somewhere, So, I talked to Jeremy yesterday from National Fire Radio, and we're going to try to hook up while we're there too, because I guess that's right in his backyard, right?
Absolutely, it is. Yep.
Yeah. So, but it'll be fun. That's what's going on, and he's doing another one in November, so I'll be back in November. I guess those are both sold out though. They sold out pretty quick.
Yeah, it's. I think we're gonna see a lot of that too. I think these smaller conferences are going to be making their rounds once everything's cleared up. And
I agree. I think it's going to turn into the way to go. I mean, you can, the big ones are great because they're your one-stop shops, but there's just so much to do, and there's the expense that comes with it.
But again, if you haven't done it, try and get out and do it. It's definitely a bucket list thing that, FDIC, Firehouse, get out there. There's another one that's going to be in, is it Interschultz? That's
in Philly, I believe.
That's
right?
in Philly. Yep. That's going to be in October. So it's, there's tons of conferences out there. It's a lot of good stuff. And I think we're going to be talking soon with the Firehouse Kitchen Table and doing a 2.0 conference. Hopefully soon we can get something together. Some of us that didn't get to present, I missed out with having the virus, and we'll get a couple of our other our teammates out there that show that have a lot of great information.
Yeah,
we're blessed to have that group.
Oh, we do. It's crazy. I think I want to do try to pull out the truck company class. I redid the whole thing from the one I did in Vegas last year. Added some stuff, took some stuff out, changed it all around. A little simpler design, and I was really looking forward to it. Still 101 slides, so that should take me about 60 minutes to do.
Yeah, you fly right through them. Everybody else works about a minute. A minute a slide. 35 seconds a slide.
You see enough? Okay, good. Go.
Click. So, hey, Sean, let's put a little teaser out there. What if we try and upload this on YouTube so they can see our smiling faces? Come on. What do you think?
I didn't know. I've been looking the other way half the time.
Well, that's okay.
I have the camera in front of me and you this way. Well, we can do it. What the hell?
Why not? We try. We'll put it out on the podcast, and then we'll.
I gained the COVID-19. Let's put it that way. I know that. So.
I lost it. I lost the 15. I'm back up. So I'm back down. So I'm down 10, which is good, and I'm trying to maintain that. But I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to Jersey opening up a little bit, and maybe hopefully soon we'll figure out when we can do our next one and maybe do a live version like we did
we'll
for
get back.
Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. I'd like to see a couple of our followers, and we'll put this out again. But I'd like
Yeah,
to
that sounds good.
think we can try and create a YouTube channel or something, post this, and go from there.
Let's do it. Why not? What do we got to lose?
I don't know, followers.
We don't have that many. We don't have that many to begin with,
But we do have some loyal ones. So
no, absolutely, it's great, and it's yeah, that's fine, and I think now that school's wrapping up officially, like next week's the last day.
Yep.
It should free up time where we can get back to our once a week routine. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do miss it. Again, it's very cathartic for me, and obviously it's for you as well. But all right, brother, you stay safe. Everybody out there, have fun. Look for us on YouTube. Hopefully we'll set the channel up within the next couple days, and we'll go from there.
Be safe.
Wrap it up. Be safe. Stay well. Wash your hands.